Hello everyone. These are the four important NCERTs for economics preparation for UPSC Civil Services examination. Or usually four NCERTs are recommended. So for instance, we have this class 9 NCERT, right? This is the class 9 NCERT. Then we have the class 10 one, right? Then we have this class 11 Indian economic development, very important for understanding of economy since Indian economy since independence. Then we have the macroeconomics NCERT. This is a very important topic. Why? Because the questions have been asked in the prelims. So then we have the microeconomics again in NCRTs. We have microeconomics NCRT also, but again it is very complicated. So what I did, I rather took the a few pages from the Mronal's material and I got this content on microeconomics. I have not gone through this material because I think it is unnecessarily complicated, and the questions have not been appearing in the prelims paper nowadays. So I think I had skipped this, but again this is also an important resource. And then we have this again very important standard book, that is the Sriram's printed notes. Now Sriram's economy material is in two forms. First, it is in the form of a proper book, which I went through the reviews of this book and it was not really that up to my expectations. So you can just read the reviews on Amazon, maybe it might help. But what I personally went through was the Sriram IAS PDF notes. So these are his handwritten notes. But the problem with these handwritten notes is that first, they lack diagram. There are hardly any diagrams in this booklet. So I myself had to add a lot of diagrams. Second, some content is either irrelevant or outdated, so that I had to filter out myself. And somewhere I felt that maybe a few topics needed some extra information that I've added there. So for instance, I don't know how is it even possible, but this is a very comprehensive book. This is a comprehensive booklet suggested by many toppers. Despite it being so comprehensive, it does not have a mention of in Indian uh, ICI, right? So these core industries, index of core industries, there was no mention of this. This is a very important index for understanding the health of manufacturing sector in India, and this was not mentioned, right? So I had to add this on my own using some research. So that's why this page you can see, this is a manually, I have manually added this page. I made these notes. Similarly, there are certain points that I failed that they were not explained in details. For instance, product patent, process patent. So I did this data also. Similarly, P notes, right? So participatory notes, you might have heard about this. Sometimes P notes are used for money laundering. Again, these were not explained in detail, so I had to add it on my own. So I think this is the issue with this book. But otherwise, this is a very lucid book. If you had to compare this with Mrunal's, Mrunal versus Sriram IAS, I would recommend you go with Sriram, because Sriram is hardly around 600 pages, whereas Mrunal's is 1200 plus, and Mrunal's content is very complicated, I would say. It is not as lucid as it is given in this book. Mrunal's material is complicated, then second, irrelevant also sometimes, highly factual, unnecessary facts have been given. For instance, if you go through a few starting pages of Mronal's notes, you might see some diagrams of the new currency notes, right? And they have written as to when they were introduced, and I mean, they have added so much information that it becomes next to impossible. And when you are not able to remember such an information, it backfires in the sense that it leads to demotivation. So please, even I started reading Mronal's notes, but after a few days I said ki, okay, I can't do this. So I switched to Sriram's notes, and my confidence increased drastically. Why? Because this book is written in a very lucid manner. You would be able to answer most of the conceptual questions, and sometimes you might need to add some data, and that is and this point applies to every book out there in the market. So for instance, let's say GDP, right? So while calculating the GDP, we include the political boundary also. Example, embassies. So this point was not mentioned, I think, in this book, so I did it from somewhere else. But I think this is a very good source, and again, it is slightly outdated, but if you supplement this with the budget and economic survey, it will help you. Then it would be a properly updated material. So this way you can prepare. I think there's not much to elaborate on, right? So these are the pages, and I think this gives you the basic idea of how these notes are. They are around 600 pages, and if I were to give you the index, okay, I'll show you the index also. Just a second. So this is the index. Now this is the index for 300 pages, and there's another index for another 300 pages. So economy and economics, economic growth and its measure, growth and development alternative measures, planned economic development and Niti Aayog, $5 trillion economy, fiscal policy, monetary and credit policy, money market, capital market, stock market, inflation, taxation, public sector. Then we have BOP, balance of payment, and similarly we have a different index for the remaining pages. I think I'll not be able to find that index now, but anyways, it gives you the basic idea. And how to download these notes? Well, these you can purchase from the Xerox centers. Else you can also get this in PDF format on Google. So if you would have to do a little Google search here and there, you'll get these PDFs. Again, again in the end I'll tell you that these are not updated, right? So I think last time when there was these notes were updated were, I think, in 2021. So since 2021, let's say you're preparing now for 2024, then what you can do is you can just add budget and economic survey plus add certain diagrams. I think this needs a lot of diagrams. And one last important point, this suffices only for the prelims. In main syllabus there are some important topics have been mentioned in the GS3 syllabus. So in mains, for instance, irrigation have been mentioned, and irrigation has no mention in this book. So for the mains purpose, you would have to refer to some other source. But as far as prelims is concerned, I think this, along with budget plus economic survey plus some diagrams plus some value addition plus little bit of and importantly current affairs, this would suffice. So I think that's it. Thank you so much.